Guys, welcome back. We're looking right now at day 2 of the Cleveland Browns training camp. And here is the fun part I got for you. We got some bounce backs. We got some guys that showed, hey, yesterday, a little bit of a fluke. We're back. And we're showing why. We are the team that's going to come up and surprise some people. Now, to start out, we're going to do this same way we started out this morning's show. We're going right to the quarterbacks. Now, this was a little bit of a mixed bag. This is a little bit closer than it was yesterday because we're looking at this quarterback battle. Who is going to be the quarterback this year? And can Shedeur win that future quarterback of the future mantle? And here we go. Watson did a better job. Made a couple nice throws. He made a couple really nice throws to Casey Concepcion. He made one really nice deep throw. I believe this was Watson. The camera angles today were... The reporters didn't have their best day with camera angles. Daniel Fusi, once again, had a great day with his camera angles. But other people, it was a little bit rough going. But I'm pretty sure it was Deshaun Watson throwing the ball early, deep, Cedric Tillman. He threw a nice on-target ball to Casey Concepcion. So he had a much better day today. Shedeur still had a good day. I felt the first team offense was running smoother under him than it did Deshaun. But at the same time, Shedeur had a much more difficult road today. See, passes that he was threading yesterday, he wasn't doing as well with that. He had a very nice layered pass to the number 2 tight end on the sideline on one throw. Passed it over the top of, I believe it was Casey Concepcion, as well as layered over 2 defenders onto the sideline. Very nice pass. He threaded the needle very nicely to Isaiah Bond. And he made a very nice throw to Denzel Boston, were 3 of the big throws he made. Now, on the other side, he tried to thread the needle a couple times, and it didn't work. Now, there were no interceptions thrown today, which was an improvement from both of the quarterbacks. Neither one of them threw an interception, which was good. But there were really no big plays by either guy. Still, in this training camp, officially, there are no touchdowns. But I've counted 5 that could have been touchdowns if we had pads on. So that in itself is encouraging, but also, come on, guys. You got to put together days right now. You're against the number 1 defense. A defense that's proving right now that it can potentially be a top 5 defense once again. Looks like it really hasn't missed a beat. And you have some guys stepping up. So you're going to have a lot of heat on you. And if you can perform well when the defense is all hot and ready to go, then you're going to perform well regardless of anything else. So these guys are going to have to keep getting better. On one pass where Shedeur tried to thread the needle to Jabari Thrash, It wasn't a good look, especially when you had Harold Fannin standing wide open. He looked at Fannin, he went through his progressions quickly, he did everything right, but the decision at the end was not exactly good because Fannin would have taken the ball straight up field and he probably would have gotten the same yardage as Thrash on that. So he's got to make better decisions in that situation. But there was still no interceptions thrown. So that is a positive. So it is a positive that there were no that there have been no interceptions thrown today. So that's an improvement from yesterday where we had the 3 interceptions, which I mentioned this morning, by Watson and Gabriel. So that's a big improvement. Hopefully that part of things continues. Part that I hope does not continue, offensive line jumping off sides. Because there were, I believe it was reported there were 2 offsides penalties. False start penalties, something of that nature on the offensive line. That's the problem we had last year. That's why we had so many stupid pass plays that didn't work out because we were starting 1st and 15. So can't be jumping off sides. Those are mental mistakes. I can kind of understand them from a standpoint of this Shedeur's first time during training camp with the first team, so they may be getting used to his cadence a little bit. But he had mini camp and he had OTAs. And some of these guys were there. So there's really very little excuse on that. So even that is stretching it. The offensive line has got to keep dialed in because right now, the quarterbacks are dialed in, the receivers are dialed in. The offensive line's got to stay dialed in. But, as I stated earlier, the defense wasn't making it easy on them. Specifically, Mason Graham and Alex Wright. Mason Graham, I said earlier, have to see him. Did he put on some muscle? Did he put on some adult fat? You know, against that baby boy fat that he had been carrying last year? Well, he was pushing back the interior of that offensive line. Doesn't matter which side he was on. In the clips I saw, there were multiple clips where the middle of that offensive line just completely collapsed. A couple times Shedeur got out. Other times he didn't. Sometimes it allowed, a couple times it allowed, I think there was one of them, Ronnie Hickman, got in there on a safety blitz. Would have been a sack. Then there was another one, I forget what it was, that would have been a sack that was caused by Mason Graham getting that pressure interiorly, on the interior. And another couple plays I saw, Alex Wright was beating his guy. I mean, he was beating him like a government mule. Did that a couple times. Alex Wright is right now looking, I think it was Adam the Bull's been big on him for a couple years now. I think this is where the Bulls didn't look really good because I think this is that 10 sack game for him. 10 sack year for Alex Wright. He had a 10 sack game, and I'd be really impressed with that one. But no. As like defensive end Alex Wright, probably gonna, if he has a 10 sack year, would not surprise me. When Myles Garrett was traded, Wright was one of the first people to step up as a leader on that defensive line and for the entire defense. So if he's going to step it up, which from what I'm seeing here in the camp so far, he's not taking a step back. He's taking a step forward. I think he's going to be a 10-sack as long as he can stay healthy. We know he's had a little bit of an injury problem, but he can also move inside to defensive tackle in that wide 9. We've seen him play both areas. He can move inside, so Isaiah McGuire can go on the outside. And the Browns are also looking to make a little bit of splash in free agency. Well, if that happens, we will go ahead and do another video. Might be on TikTok. Just do a quick thing to get everybody updated. But right now, it's Isaiah McGuire potentially on the outside if Alex Wright moves inside. Then you got Mason Graham, and that'll be your pass rush group with Verse on the outside. I don't think Verse is going to move around as much as Miles did, but that does leave some really good opportunities for the guys inside and everybody else to kind of move around a little bit. So I'm really encouraged by what I saw today because I don't think Mason Graham actually got in for any sacks, but he was pushing the pocket enough that it was causing a lot of problems. And Alex Wright did get through to get a couple sacks. Not sure if they'd actually count as sacks, but when he got through there, he just blew the brakes off whoever was trying to put hands on him. So that is massively encouraging that he's doing that at this point in time. Now, something else that really got me, other than those two defensive guys creating havoc here, I really like how the safeties bounce back. I already mentioned Ronnie Hickman on that safety blitz, but also in coverage. Like they were collapsing onto these receivers over the middle. Like all the safeties, Delpit, Hickman, those two are the big two. But anybody they put back there, it's like there were a couple catches, but overall, outside of the Isaiah Bond and one from Boston that I saw, overall they were collapsing. They were getting to the quarterback. They were blitzing. I saw one time Delpit came down to the line and literally right outside of Graham's right shoulder, and those two blitzed up the middle and collapsed the pocket. And it was so those safeties today really redeemed themselves, both in the pass and in the pass rush. And so that's really encouraging because that's one of the things I said this morning that I was going to look for today was, are these safeties going to bounce back? Are they going to have a better day today? And they did. I don't think that the corners took a step back per se, but I think the quarterback play was better as far as they weren't going to take those chances and that they were going to be cognizant that the corners were going to be pushing for those interceptions and that they were going to be more accurate with the football and take care of the football a little better. So that was encouraging both from the quarterback's perspective and that the corners didn't allow a lot. So that was a good thing from them. See, every practice is not going to have a couple interceptions per. But they didn't give up a lot of huge plays. They gave up two that I thought could have been touchdowns, but that would have been up to one-on-ones to receivers. They probably would have been tackled. The receivers probably would have been tackled by the safeties and or corners, whoever was there. But there is also a chance the way these receivers have been playing that those would have been broken for touchdowns. So let's not, get upset about the defense right now, because the defense right now is playing hot. So these positives that were taken away from the offense, speaking of which, Quinshon Judkins, he's hitting holes. Oh man, he's hitting holes hard. Kind of looks like a little Nick Chubb going through there. He hit holes hard. He's getting through there. He's got a lot of burst. He is looking crisp and in much better shape than he did this time last year, coming off that injury. So, and that's something that he would get back and the safeties would stop him. Now, the fact that he got to the point that the safeties needed to stop him, now that is a different discussion. But the fact that the safeties were alert and got up there quick is encouraging. Once again, more of that bounce back from the safety position. So what we're looking at here, we're looking at a mixed bag, but I don't think it's as much today. Yesterday, I think, was performance-based from the quarterbacks, that Deshaun Watson just had a really bad day. One person even said that it was, one person in attendance said it was the worst they had ever seen him in a Browns uniform. He had a much better day today. And now Shedeur has a pretty good day, but at the same time, no touchdowns. Yesterday, no touchdowns. The defense right now, it doesn't surprise me that the defense looks really good. What surprises me a little bit is that the defense looks dominant. That's the thing. The defense doesn't look good. It doesn't look better than the offense. The defense looks like a dominant defense. The reads are quick. The routes are crisp. But the defense is all over it. That's an encouraging sign. When the offense catches up and the offensive line molds and gels together, then we'll see if that changes. But right now, what we're seeing is a dominant defense. And the young guys on that defense are playing really well. And that's something I'm encouraged by. Now, what are we going to look for tomorrow? On day 3, I don't know if it's been, because day 2 just ended, so I'm not sure who's going to be starting. But what I do know is, well, real quick, because got a couple minutes here. It's a fun little story that Todd Monken said when he was in his press conference. I got a really big chuckle out of it. He was talking about how he was talking to Coach Sanders. Deion Sanders was at training camp today, and how he was talking about, they barely talked about football. He said they talked about fatherhood and different things. They got into their careers, in the later part of Deion's playing days and Jackson State and such. But then he said, well, we were on a time crunch, and Andrew Berry was on deck. So we had to cut it short, and I had to give him to Andrew. And the way he said it, Now, this was something I found just absolutely hilarious. The way he said it was, "Gosh darn it, why do you have to be here, Andrew? You're taking my time with Coach Sanders. Why are you here?" He was upset that he had to give away Coach Sanders. Now, that is, to me, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just, you know, that, I'm a little bit older. That old coach in me, that old player in me, just like, man, that is one of the funniest things ever. Like, I got to give up my coaching time, my time with Coach Sanders to my boss. I don't like this. So that was fun. I really did like that. Um, and I think that's one of the good things that we get now from Coach Monken. Coach Monken's got some personality to him. That's really fun. And I've also heard a lot about, speaking of the coaching staff, I've heard a lot about how these coaches are riding the players hard, and that there's a lot of intensity to this, and these guys are all pretty much dialed in, with the exception of a couple of false starts and such. So I'm really encouraged by that as well, that everybody's dialed in. Now, as for tomorrow, quarterback battles only going to get hotter. Because, like I said before, their little cameras they get on their helmets right there, they're going to be going over there before they ever hit the field. And when they do, they're going to see every little thing that was missed. And while that didn't do much, and I don't think really meant as much during mini camps and OTAs based on the nature of them, during training camp, you're seeing a lot of fast running, real time stuff. You're seeing what you missed. And once again, I don't know who's going to be starting at quarterback, but if Coach Monken is to be believed, Deshaun Watson will be back with the first team. Spencer Fano will be back with the second team. Shedeur will be back with the second team. And the receivers, I'm not really sure how they're doing the receivers because Casey Concepcion was still running with the twos. He was running with the ones a little bit today. Denzel Boston was with the ones. Bond's been with the ones the entire time. I don't think I saw anything from Jerry Jeudy today. Was he with the ones? Was he with the twos? I don't know. So what they're doing with the wide receivers is still, I think they're just mixing in the wide receivers at this point. And I think that's probably going to continue. As I've said before, I think that might continue for at least the first week, where they just mix and match the receivers before starting to settle things in. Maybe even 2 weeks. And I expect to see more progress. See, things kind of evened out a little bit with Shedeur today when he was against the number ones. Shedeur still had a good day, but he wasn't near what he was with the twos. Deshaun had a much better day, which bar can't be much lower from yesterday, but he had a much better day today. I want to see now with 1 day each with these guys against the number ones. I want to see these two guys come out here and be able to see the field a little bit better. I want to see their decision making improve, because that was something I've seen from both guys, is that their decision making against the number ones they keep trying to do things against number ones that they did against number twos. They've got to get that cleaned up. So that's what I want to see from this next set. That's what I want to see from Deshaun tomorrow. And that's what I want to see from Shedeur in his next start with the ones. I want to see these receivers get open a little bit more. Yeah, Boston's gotten open, Bond's got open, Concepcion's got open, but they've not been getting open at the rate that I think's needed. I want to see this offensive line start to gel. Because right now, the defensive line, Mason Graham's pushing hard, Alex Wright's pushing hard. You got these guys pushing hard. You're going to have to gel. You can't just be a bunch of individuals on that line. Got to start gelling. Got to start getting things together. Got a great coach. You're all really good offensive linemen individually. It's time to start gelling. Or else all this quarterback talk ain't going to mean a hill of beans to anybody. So look for that in tomorrow's camp. You'll see if the defensive backs continue to surge, if the defensive line continues to surge, and if the quarterbacks learn from their mistakes, and if the offensive line can gel a little bit better, if that'll help the quarterbacks a little bit. So we're going to be looking at all that, and once these things get up and going, we'll see the subscribe button over here. We'll have a video over here. We'll hopefully be sitting here talking about the next video to come out. Hopefully I'll have something out tomorrow night for day 3. And once day 3 is over, we might get a little more of an idea. So check out our other videos. If you like this content, like and subscribe. And remember, this shot's on us. And go Browns.